Hello, I'm Nurul Athar, PMP CPHIMS and RTR certified, and welcome to my presentation on PMBOK Guide 7th edition. In this part, we are going to explore a guide to project management body of knowledge. This part is divided into three sections: project performance domain, tailoring, model, methods, and artifact. So, in this part, we are going to explore stakeholder performance domain. So, let's start PMBOK Guide 7th edition. Second part of Guide to Project Management Body of Knowledge. This part is further divided into three sections: project performance domain, tailoring, models, methods, and artifacts. So let's start project performance domains. A project performance domain is a group of related activities that are critical for effective delivery of project's outcomes. Project performance domains are interactive, interrelated, and interdependent areas of focus that work in unison to achieve desired project outcomes. Together, the performance domains form a unified whole. In this way, the performance domains operate as an integrated system, with each performance domain being interdependent of the other performance domains to enable successful delivery of the project and its intended outcomes. Performance domains run concurrently throughout the project, regardless of how value is delivered, frequently, periodically, or at the end of the project. For example, project leads spend time focused on stakeholders, the project team, the project lifecycle, the project work, and so forth from the outset of the project to its closure. These areas of focus are not addressed as siloed efforts because they overlap and interconnect. The way in which the performance domains relates are different for each project, but they are present in every project. The specific activities undertaken within each of the performance domains are determined by the context of the organization, the project deliverables, the project team, stakeholders, and other factors. The performance domains are presented in the following section without specific weighting or order. There are 8 project performance domains: stakeholder performance domain, team performance domain, development approach and life cycle, planning performance domain, project work performance domain, delivery performance domain, measurement performance domain, and uncertainty performance domain. So in this presentation we are going to explore stakeholder performance domain. Stakeholder performance domain. The stakeholder performance domain addresses activities and functions associated with stakeholders. Effective execution of these performance domains result in the following desired outcomes: a productive working relationship with stakeholders throughout the project, stakeholder agreement with project objectives, stakeholders who are project beneficiary are supportive and satisfied, while stakeholders who may oppose the project or its deliverables do not negatively impact project outcomes. Stakeholder engagement, interaction with other performance domains, and checking results. Stakeholder engagement. Stakeholder engagement includes implementing strategies and action to promote productive involvement of stakeholders. Stakeholder engagement activities start before or when the project starts and continue throughout the projects. Defining and sharing a clear vision at the start of the project can enable good relationships and alignment throughout the project. Establishing a clear vision that key stakeholders agree on can entail some challenging negotiation especially with the stakeholders who are not necessarily in favor of the project or its intended outcomes. As shown in figure 2.3, there are several steps to engage stakeholders effectively. Okay. Identify, understand, analyze, prioritize, engage, and monitor. So let's explore each. Identify, understand, and analyze, prioritize, engage, and monitor. Identify. High-level stakeholder identification may be carried out prior to forming the project team. Detailed stakeholder identification progressively elaborates the initial work and is a continuous activity throughout the project. Some stakeholders are easy to identify, such as the customer, sponsor, project team, and users, and so forth, but others can be difficult to identify when they are not directly connected to the project. Now see, understand and analyze. Once stakeholders are identified, the project manager and the project team should seek to understand the stakeholders' feelings, emotions, beliefs, and values. These elements can lead to additional threats or opportunities for the project outcomes. They can also change quickly, and as such, understanding and analyzing stakeholders is an ongoing action. Related to understanding the project stakeholder is the need to analyze aspects of each stakeholder's position on and perspective of the project. Analyzing stakeholders considers several stakeholder aspects such as power, impact, attitude, beliefs, expectation, degree of influence, proximity to the project, interest in the project, and other aspects surrounding stakeholders' interaction with the project. This information helps the project team consider interactions that may influence the motivations, actions, and behaviors of stakeholders. In addition to the individual analysis, the project team should consider how stakeholders interact with each other, as they often form alliances that help or hinders the project's objectives. For example, if the project team believes a key business manager is highly influential but has negative perception related to the project, they can explore how to detect the business manager's perception and respond appropriately as the project unfolds. In all cases, the analysis work should be held in confidence by the project team, since the information could be misinterpreted outside the context for the analysis. Now let's go to prioritize. On many projects, there are too many stakeholders involved for the project team to engage directly or effectively with all of them. Based on its analysis, the project team can complete an initial prioritization of stakeholders. It is common to focus on stakeholders with the most power and interest as one way to prioritize engagement. As events unfold throughout the project team may need to reprioritize based on new stakeholders or evolving changes in the stakeholders landscape. Now let's see engage. Stakeholder engagement entails working collaboratively with the stakeholders to introduce the project, elicit their requirements, manage expectations, resolve issues, negotiate, prioritize, problem solve, and make decisions. Engaging stakeholders requires the application of soft skills such as active listening, interpersonal skills and conflict management, as well as leadership skills such as establishing the vision and critical thinking. Communication with the stakeholder can take place via written or verbal means, and it can be formal or informal. Examples of each type of communication are shown in table 2.2-1. Type: formal, informal, verbal, formal, presentation, project reviews, briefing, product demos, brainstorming. Type: verbal, informal, conversation, ad hoc discussion. And type: written, formal, progress reports, project documents, business case. And type: written, informal, brief notes, email, instant messaging, texting, social media. Communication methods include push, pull, and interactive communications. Push communication. Communication sent to stakeholders such as memos, email, status reports, voicemail, and so forth. Push communication is used for one-way communication with the individuals, stakeholders, or groups of stakeholders. Push communication inhibits the ability to immediately gauge reaction and assess understanding. Therefore, it should be used deliberately. Now see pull communication. Information sought by stakeholders such as a project team member going to an intranet to find communication policies or templates, running internet searches, and using online repositories. Pulling information is used for indirect sensing of stakeholders' concern. Engagement goes deeper than publishing or pulling communication. Engagement is interactive. It includes an exchange of information with one or more stakeholders, such as conversation, phone calls, meeting, brainstorming, product demos, and the like. With all forms of communication, quick feedback loops provide useful information too. Confirm the degree to which the stakeholder heard the message. Determine if the stakeholder agree with the message. Identify nuance or other unintended messages the recipient detected. Gain other helpful insights. Now let's move to next, that is monitor. Throughout the project, stakeholders will change as new stakeholders are identified and others cease to be stakeholders. As the project progresses, the attitude or power of some stakeholders may change. In addition to identifying and analyzing new stakeholders, there is an opportunity to assess whether the current engagement strategy is effective or if it needs to be adjusted. Therefore, the amount and effectiveness of stakeholder engagement is monitored throughout the project. The degree of stakeholder satisfaction can often be determined by having a conversation with the stakeholders to gauge their satisfaction with project deliverables and the overall management of the project. Project and iteration reviews, product reviews, stage gates, and other methods are ways to obtain periodic feedback. For large groups of stakeholders, a survey can be used to assess the degree of satisfaction. Where necessary, the stakeholder management approach can be updated to achieve higher stakeholder satisfaction. Interaction with other performance domain. Stakeholders permeate all aspects of the project. They define and prioritize the requirements and scope for the project team. They participate in and shape the planning. They determine acceptance and quality criteria for the project deliverables and outcomes. Much of the project work is around engaging and communicating with the stakeholders throughout the project or its closure. They use the project deliverables and influence the realization of project outcome. Some stakeholders can assist in lowering the amount of uncertainty present on a project, while others may cause an increase in uncertainty. Stakeholders such as customers, senior management, project management, office leads, or program managers will focus on measures of performance for the project and its deliverables. These interactions are samples of how the stakeholder performance domain integrates and interviews with other performance domains. Though they are not inclusive of all the ways the stakeholder concerns interact throughout the performance domains. Now let's go checking result. Outcome and check. Outcome: productive working relationship with the stakeholders throughout the projects. Check. Productive working relationship with the stakeholder can be observed. However, the movement of stakeholders along a continuum of engagement can indicate the relative level of satisfaction with the project. Outcome: stakeholders' agreement with project objectives. Check. A significant number of changes or modifications to the project and product requirements in addition to the scope may indicate stakeholders are not engaged or aligned with the project objective. Stakeholders who are project beneficiaries are supportive and satisfied. Stakeholders who may oppose the project or its deliverable do not negatively impact project results. Check. Stakeholders' behavior can indicate whether project beneficiaries are satisfied and supportive of the project or whether they oppose it. Surveys, interviews, and focus groups are also effective ways to determine if stakeholders are satisfied and supportive or if they oppose the project and its deliverables. A review of project issues register and risk register can identify challenges associated with individual stakeholders. Table 2-2 identifies the outcome on the left and ways of checking them on the right, as I have already explained. The following definitions are relevant to the stakeholder performance domain. A stakeholder: an individual, group, or organization that may be affected by, or perceive itself to be affected by a decision, activity, or outcome of a project. Forum or portfolio. Stakeholder analysis: a method of systematically gathering and analyzing quantitative and qualitative information to determine whose interests should be taken into account throughout the project. Projects are performed by people and for people. This performance domain entails working with the stakeholders to maintain alignment and engage with them to foster positive relationship and satisfaction. Stakeholders include individuals, groups, and organizations. A project can have a small group of stakeholders or potentially millions of stakeholders. There may be different stakeholders in different phases of the project, and the influence, power, or interest of stakeholders may change as the project unfolds. This figure shows examples of project stakeholders. Effective stakeholder identification, analysis, and engagement includes stakeholders who are internal and external to the organization, those who are supportive of the project, and those who may not be supportive or are neutral. While having relevant technical project management skills is an important aspect of successful projects, having the interpersonal and leadership skills to work effectively with the stakeholders is just as important, if not more so. Okay, that brings us to the end of my presentation. Thanks for watching. In next presentation, we are going to explore next project performance domain, that is team performance domain. I hope you would have found this information useful. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel.